Some stories are never finished, they're just filed away. Welcome to Chronicles of the Obscure. Imagine you're on a boat in the middle of Lake Erie. It's September 1817. You're Captain James Smith, hauling nets with your crew near Put-in Bay. Suddenly the water beside your schooner just erupts. A dark, serpentine shape, longer than your entire vessel, arches out of the lake before diving soundlessly back into the depths. Captain Smith would later swear it wasn't a sturgeon, not a log, and not anything known to the Great Lakes. He called it the water snake of extraordinary size. But here's the thing. Captain Smith wasn't the first to see it, and he certainly wouldn't be the last. For over 2 centuries, sailors, fishermen, and shoreline residents have reported a creature they call Bessie, a living relic said to be swimming in the cold, deep trenches of Lake Erie. And as recently as 2021, science may have finally captured evidence suggesting this legend is far more than just a campfire story. So, let's open up the evidence locker. What do we actually have in the Bessie dossier? It starts long before European settlers arrived. Indigenous Odawa and Ojibwe legends describe a creature called Mishibeshu, a powerful underwater panther or horned serpent that controls storms and currents. If you look at ancient petroglyphs found near Lake Erie, you'll see carvings of long, coiled creatures that look remarkably like what people describe today. Then we have the historical logs. As early as 1793, a British surveyor's report mentions an unusually large, serpent-like animal. Fast forward to the famous 1817 Captain Smith sighting. Then in 1892, a newspaper article, titled The Port Dover Sea Serpent, described a 30-foot black beast with humps, spotted by multiple witnesses. These aren't just isolated tall tales. They're documented accounts spanning decades. Modern encounters keep the story alive. In July of 1993, a family on a fishing trip near Cleveland filmed something strange. The video is grainy, of course, but it clearly shows a dark, humped object moving against the wind, which rules out a lot of simple explanations. But perhaps the most compelling physical data comes from sonar. In 1990, the fishing vessel Erie Explorer recorded a solid 35-foot unidentified mass moving at a steady 8 knots at a depth of 120 feet. Then, in 2021, something truly remarkable happened. A NOAA research vessel, the Lake Guardian, was scanning the deepest part of the lake. Their state-of-the-art equipment detected large, animate returns, sonar signatures consistent with something alive, moving, and bigger than any known freshwater fish in the Great Lakes. This brings us to the theory board. What could Bessie possibly be? Theory 1 is the relic species hypothesis. After the last ice age, Lake Erie was part of the Champlain Sea, which connected directly to the Atlantic Ocean. Is it possible that a population of ancient marine animals, like a zeuglodon, an early serpentine whale, or a line of giant sturgeon, became landlocked and adapted to fresh water? It sounds like science fiction, but nature has pulled off stranger things. Theory 2 is the misidentification cascade. Let's be logical. Most sightings happen in tricky conditions, glare, fog, or heavy waves. It's well known that certain wave patterns can create the illusion of humps moving through the water. People could be seeing large sturgeon, which can grow over 8 feet long and look incredibly prehistoric, or even just floating logs that play tricks on the eye from a distance. Theory 3 is the folklore feedback loop. This is a psychological explanation. Once a powerful legend like Bessie exists, our brains are primed to see her. We start interpreting ambiguous things, a shadow, a wave, a log, through the lens of the myth. Every new sighting, even if it's a mistake, gets added to the story and reinforces the belief for the next person. Then there's Theory 4, the undiscovered large fish. This is a favorite among cryptozoologists. It suggests Bessie isn't a prehistoric monster, but simply an unknown species of large, deep-water fish. Perhaps a giant relative of the lake trout that has evolved to live in the deepest, coldest parts of the lake and very rarely surfaces. This would explain why we have sonar hits, but no bodies. And finally, Theory 5 takes us into the fringe. The paranormal or extra-dimensional. This idea, while not scientific, is persistent. It proposes that Bessie isn't a creature of flesh and blood, but a lake spirit, or something that appears through temporal rifts or dimensional doorways. This would explain why she can appear and disappear without a trace, and why no physical evidence like a carcass has ever been found. But let's go back to those 2021 NOAA scans, because they really did change the conversation. The objects detected were not stationary, so they weren't rocks. They weren't geological formations. And their size matched the historical estimates for Bessie. Now, officially, NOAA attributed these readings to schools of fish or equipment anomalies. But in a later interview, the lead researcher on that expedition admitted, and I quote, "There's something down there we can't yet categorize." That's a powerful statement from a scientist. Meanwhile, whether she's real or not, Bessie has become a part of the local culture. There's a Bessie festival in Port Dover, Ontario. Breweries make craft beers named after her. A local hockey team even uses her as their mascot. The monster has become a beloved community emblem, a symbol of local pride and mystery. In the end, the story of Bessie is more than just a monster hunt. It's a mirror held up to our relationship with deep water, one of the last truly unexplored frontiers on our own planet. The Great Lakes hold secrets older than human memory, in deep trenches we've barely even mapped. Whether Bessie is a creature of flesh and blood, or purely a story passed down through generations, she reminds us that some mysteries endure. They persist not because they're unsolvable, but because on some level, we need them to. We need the idea that in the dark, cold deep, something ancient, something unknown still swims. So, what do you believe Bessie is? A relic from the past? A case of mistaken identity? Or something else entirely? Share your theory in the comments below. And if you love diving into the unknown, subscribe to Chronicles of the Obscure.